And I'm telling you that this strength that we are talking about is not first and foremost the strength of number. It's the strength of the number of people that bear the image and the nature of God. Now listen. You know, what comes out of me is a reflection of my nature and my image. I hope you know. That they said a tree is known by its fruit. Wisdom is justified by her children. By their fruit we shall know them. These are all expression of a reality that how we know your nature, how we know the nature that dominates you is by the things you do. We see it in the expressions of your core values. We see it in how thick you are, that when winds blow, you are still found where you are. We see it in the season where there are pressure that make a lot of people to compromise, and yet you stand strong. I was sharing with my wife, we lost a dear brother. He was sick in the hospital, and I visited him a couple of times. There was never a moment I visited this brother and his spirit was weak. He was dying, but he was not saying, God, why me? You know, I have seen people who have not gone little of the pain that this brother went through, and you will hear, in fact, you will not want to come near them. They have become so poisonous, because once you come, they will tell you, God, why me? Me, I have been in this for this. God, you don't want to answer me. No, these are people that the nature of God in them is still weak and not strong. There are people who are rich in their spirit. Till the day I traveled, I was with him, I think till about 12. We were talking. I could see his health deteriorating. But you know what? I'm telling you, that brother was strong in the spirit. There was nothing around him that was making him to doubt God or doubt his promise. Many of us see, you don't know. Doubt can come, fear can come, and all of that. But if fear dominates you, and then you begin to live by fear, it shows us that there's so much space for fear, and there's no much space for the life of God. I asked myself, if all, for example, that you think should make man comfortable has been taken away from me, will that really affect my... See, you know, the reason why sometimes we are bendable is because the nature of God has not fully taken over us. Can you really help but being who you are? When it is natural, you don't struggle. It flows whether you plan it or not. There are things that are called in biology reflex action. You don't think about them; they just flow. And when the nature of God increases in us, it is not a struggle, as in you don't struggle to say no in the face of corruption. It's not a struggle that millions and billions don't entice you to compromise. You don't see it as an object of compromise. And you don't look for glory for it because it is natural. It is when it is not natural, you feel there's so much effort for you to deny the corruption of billions. And then for that reason, you are expecting God to reward you because you have denied. That you hate corruption is that it is in your nature. That it is not that you are putting effort. You want to prove a point. No, that it is. that when things begin to flow naturally from us as the sons of God, dominion come when we become fruitful after our kind. But we cannot talk about dominion when we neglect the issue of fruitfulness. It is not a dominion if we have one of us become a governor, and by the time he is on that seat and in that office, when you look at the fruit of his work, you will see it's a reflection of something else and not the nature of God. We read 2 scriptures and then we will pray. Next Saturday we will continue. It is high time that we begin to bring out the truth, because I've asked myself, I said, is it true that there is any nation at all, or there's any culture, or there's any belief system that Christianity cannot conquer? Is it true? Is there any territory that can be too difficult for Christianity to conquer? You know, we don't conquer by sword, we don't conquer by fight. And if that is true, then what exactly is the issue? Now, if our gatherings and our population, as we celebrate, packing full stadiums, which we rejoice and celebrate for that kind of breakthrough, if it does not lead to the reproduction of the nature of God in the life of these people, we still will not be able to exercise dominion. The real dominion is not by gathering the people. The real dominion is by society changing. Because if the nature of God is reproduced in you, it won't be a challenge for you to take over the mountain of Media. The book of Exodus, chapter 23, verse 30. Okay, let's take the reading from verse 29. Okay, please, we need to still go back. Let's say 28. Let me see. Maybe that will give us well, let's take it from here because of what I want to say, so that we move on. And I will send hornets before thee, which shall drive out the Hivite, the Canaanite, and the Hittite from before thee. This is God talking to the children of Israel. Verse 29, please. I will not drive them out from before thee in 1 year. Now, so what God is saying is that I could actually drive these guys out in 1 year, but I will not do that. And the way God said it, you know, he said, I'm going to send hornets to go ahead of you. It will clear the land for you. The Canaanite, the Hivite, you will not need to fight. The Hivite, the hornet will drive them out. And it is the land that you are supposed to possess. So the enemies were not the problem. And he said that I am not going to drive them out in 1 year, meaning that God had the ability to drive these people out in 1 year. And I'm telling you the truth. Look, think about it. Think of the most difficult belief system. Because when we talk about nations group and people's group, think of, just name it, their belief system, their understanding, whatever. There is no nation that God cannot drive out. There is no mountain that influences the society that God cannot hand over. But see the concern of God. I will not drive them out from before thee in 1 year, lest the land become what? Desolate. And the beasts of the field, what? Against. I will not drive them out from before thee in 1 year, lest the land become desolate, and the beasts of the field multiplied against thee. Verse 30. Little by little, I will drive them out from before thee, until thou be what? Increased, and what? I checked the word increased too. It is the same Hebrew word, fruitfulness. It's not just talking about increase in number, but until the children of Israelite give birth to their kind, then can they inherit the land. You can see that it is not because the 7 mountains of the society, is not because any territory is difficult for the Lord to conquer. It is because we are few. I have one day asked myself a question. You know, if you are thinking about God's agenda, for example, so let me not give example with people who are alive, and then people will just. Austin, imagine Pharaoh is in our generation, and then Pharaoh gave his life to Christ. Can you imagine what it will take to really disciple Pharaoh? No, think about it. Pharaoh is not an ordinary. He has seen magicians who have thrown sticks and it has turned to. So you see, your gospel of you can see how the indices of the events of the world are seriously determined by how strong you and I are. There are some things, it's not because God cannot do them, but because if God is to do them now, we are not strong enough to handle these things. He said the beast of the field, the land will be desolate. We will not be able to occupy the place because we don't have the strength that is required. So the beast will occupy. And you know, I was saying, you know what the beast represent? Is wild beast, something that cannot be tamed. Are you with me? Amen. And the things that cannot be tamed, before you think of human being, is not primarily human being, because it describes a nature of rebellion. And that talks about demonic spirits. And this demonic spirit, interestingly, they possess human beings to find full expression. Because the gay movement, I hope you know that it is more than a thought, it's more than an idea, it's a spirit. Lesbianism, the same thing. These are the things you can call wild beasts. And they are pushing forcefully to take their place. You want to be recognized. Like I said, we in Nigeria, like I said, we are enjoying so many things. I've heard the story I was sharing with the workers, how somebody was deported. What was it? It's a Nigerian that went abroad, and when he went abroad, he's a skillful barber. And then a white man went, sat in his barbing salon for him to barb him. And the guy mistakenly, packed the hair where he was not supposed to pack the hair. That was the problem of that guy. For him to have made a mistake to barb where he was not supposed to barb, the white man looked at himself in a mirror and started expressing sorrow and cry that he's already feeling depressed by the way this guy has made him to look like. And before you realize, it was a court case. He had to report him because he barbed him wrongly. And because the guy is now looking the way he was not supposed to look, he's already beginning to feel depressed. And it's all as a result of this barber. Meaning the barber want to kill him. And trust the government. The guy was deported back for mistakenly barbing. Somebody can take you to court because of how you feel. He say, you are hurting my feelings. Here, has anybody ever taken care of your feelings? How many of you have been barbed wrongly? They pack your beards, and you that have fine beards, you are nurturing it so that you look among they pack it. And you still have to pay the barber because he has barbed your hair. And nothing happened. Life still goes on. Somebody was deported because he barbed wrongly. And the person that was barbed wrongly said he's already feeling depressed. Depression is coming on him. He's supposed to have side bugs. Now there's no side bugs.